of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good evening and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment to calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. And with me today, I have Lord Holy Apostle Dean Saline, our partner, Brother Fakir, and Holy Queen Mother, not here right there, but we wish them my easiest peace and all the best about their presence. Those two in this program, those in the audience, my easiest peace and all the best about your presence as well. It's always a pleasure to be in the company of the messenger prophet of A.H.A.D, man, because A.H.A.D gives us so much of his wisdom through him. And one thing that people need to know today, you know, we live in a time of grave dangers, signs of the time that he's manifesting today. I was just watching news recently how they had these devastating tornadoes now and fires out there in Arkansas and Oklahoma and Texas. And these are things that people they ain't mentioned about anything about a tornado season or anything about these wildfires that's going on. But as I either manifest these things in the news, it just signs for myself to recognize what I either said and we are living in the day of revelation. And people today need to know the seriousness. If A.H.A.D wasn't serious about what it's sending down, it wouldn't send this messenger here. It wouldn't send his words down in the forms of holy books that people can recognize if they're reading them, ask the Lord to guide them in this understanding of those books so they can know that we are living in the hour of the day. And they have programs now they're trying to interlude or intervene what A.H.A.D sending forth through the messenger here. Or allude to, right? Yeah. And what's going on today in the world. Before, because the message is already here, and A.H.A.D have things that they have in their hands, in their possession, in the Library of Congress. Those in the secret government know what we're speaking about. That this information has been sent down to them since '98. Now these things are taking place and things are coming to pass. Now A.H.A.D manifests greater signs of a need that the people need to know that the Lord is here in this hour of the day. So with that, Holy Apostle, maybe jump into something like that or whatever other topic you want to throw in this pot.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, welcome home.
Oh, praise to
you know what I mean? Even though I know you got to shoot right back out, you know. Brother taking them long trips down south, you know, and grandfather passed.
That's what,
you know. And I just say, may A.H.A.D's peace and blessings be with them about your presence and your family's presence. Let your mother and everybody know that, you know, my heart is with them.
Okay, definitely.
You know, and I pray A.H.A.D's peace be upon them. You know. But even in death, man, I was thinking.
Life. That's what I was thinking about.
I was thinking about you this morning after I talked to you on the phone.
Oh, right, we talked earlier, right?
And I thought about your father's death.
Oh, okay.
And my father's death.
Right.
You know, and without getting into any details.
Right.
Personally, I think my father died a beautiful death, and I think your father died a beautiful death as well. And from what you're telling me, your grandfather died a beautiful death. You know. And but people, you know, our people especially, well, people in general, it's so hard for them to accept the passing on of an individual.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I've had a few family members pass on in my lifetime.
Okay.
And I'm 50 something. I'm at that age where I can't switch it and then it be good for me, you know. I'm 45, be like, yeah, I'm over the hump in 50s. Anyway, but the first one who passed in my life was my godfather or guardian father.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I was a very young boy. Right. I think I was about, must have been about in the 6th grade or less, maybe 5th grade, 4th grade. And, no, I was in the 3rd grade. It was kind of shocking to me.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't understand death.
Right.
I didn't get up there and cry and scream or anything like that there, but what happened was, my mother and father left me in the back of the church, and it's a very large church. To me, it was a very large church at that time. And they said, you don't have to go up there and see him. He's dead, and we don't want you to see him like that. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't know what death was.
Okay.
When they all lined up and went down to view the remains, one of the guys, ushers, came up and said, you can go down and see him. I said, no, my mother said, oh, no, you can go see him. Come on, you can go. Right. And I ended up going down there by myself.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
So when my mother and father got back to their seating, they was all the way in the back. They were looking for me, and I'm out at the casket. And I'm looking at them, and I see the airflow.
Oh, okay.
The embalming fluid tends to move, or something happens where the body moves a little, you know. Right. And I'm looking, and I'm saying, Pop, sleep.
Oh, okay.
Pop. And I'm saying, Pop.
Right.
You know, Pop.
Right.
And then my mother rushed back down there and said, oh, my baby, get my baby. And she all emotional, and she snatched me, and I'm saying, Mom, Pop, sleep. Right. Pop, sleep. And I'm going all the way up. and I'm like, for years trying to figure out why they closed that box up on Pop and put him in the ground.
Okay.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so you know, death had to be explained to me.
Okay.
And nobody never explained it.
Okay.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
You know, and what I was told was, you die, you go to heaven, and you know, if you're a Christian, and you meet God, and then you wait for everybody to come to pass on. Yeah. Well, what's wrong with that? If you go to sleep like Pop, and you go somewhere else, what's wrong with that? So death never had that imprint on me.
Okay.
And it never really shook me up so much.
Okay.
Even when my brother, who was the closest thing to me in the world, passed. It wasn't until my guardian mother died, my godmother, Pop's wife, died some 40 years later.
Oh, okay.
Or 30 years later. Mm-hmm. You know? That, thank you, brother, but that's cool, you know, that I had a shot. And what it was is, I didn't want to face her passing.
Oh, okay.
And you know how people be like, yeah, well, she's hanging on. She just keep asking about you, and she's hanging on. She ain't going nowhere until you come and see her. Now, I'm listening to them constantly telling me that, and I put that in my mind. All right, so if she waiting for me, I'm not going to go see her.
You're a little older by this time.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, man, you know. And the thing about it is that when she passed, I remember before she passed, I had went to see her with my godbrother, so-called godbrother, so-called cousin, and who had did me so wrong in life out of jealousy.
Oh, okay.
Because his grandmother's love for me, he couldn't understand her love for me, and he's a grandson, and she held me like a son.
Right.
You know. But we both were there, and we both had went bad in the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, terribly bad in the world. Mm-hmm. We used to even hang out together. Right. And we both standing up there, and she looked at him and she said, you know, you're my favorite. And she went to hug him, and then she looked at me, and a tear dropped out of her eye. Mm. She got caught in the middle. She said, oh, how could I say that when I'm standing here? Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. And I said, oh, no, Marvera, no. Mm-hmm. No. He is your favorite. I know where I am with you.
Right.
No matter what he did,
okay,
he came to you still. He had no shame. He came to you all drugged up, all drunk up, right, all everything.
Right.
He drug himself in here to see you. I had so much shame because I knew I was doing wrong that I stayed away from you all these years, right, until I got myself together. And that was because I knew that you would not approve of me being like that. I knew it would hurt you to see me like that, and I really was ashamed of myself. You know? Mm-hmm. I said, so never feel bad about how you feel about somebody. I love you, Marvera, you know? And I know you love us both. But he was the one who came here to see you.
Right.
And I accepted that. You know? I didn't think it was cool when he was doing it. You know what I mean? But I said at least he had the heart to do it. Right. That would be like me going to church, man, all bummed out.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't do it. I knew better. And I had fell in the world trying to have a friend. Right. You know, trying to keep my knowledge of Allah down so people would like me. But do you know what I found throughout my life? Here I'm an old man, grandfather. Actually, great-grandfather maybe. You know. And people still don't like me because I choose Allah. Yeah. No matter how much good I do, what you supposed to like people for the good they do in the world, they still don't like me. You're still the enemy. So if I could have known that when I was young, when, you know, before I try to hide my knowledge, then I wouldn't have went through what I went through in the streets. You understand? But the reason I freaked out when my godmother passed is because I didn't go see her. Okay. And I felt bad, and all these thoughts came up afterwards, and I realized something that I didn't realize before. Oh, okay. I took that thing about her being a godmother or a guard, I like to say guardian mother. Right. I took that thing, I didn't take it as deep as I should have. Oh, okay. See, in my being concerned about myself and how I look, I forgot about her. And when she passed, Allah put it all in me, reminded me that she took me from an infant. And she used to take me on the weekends. All the way up till I was like 12 years old, 13, right? I used to stay with her all summer for summer vacation, every year. You know, her son, her grandson was like my brother. Right. He was older than me. Oh, okay. And we were like brothers. He's like an older brother to me. Because of him, I went into the police force. Oh, okay. Because he was special police in Newark. You know? And so we were very close, you know, so all that hit me. And tears just rolled out my eyes. I was in the car with my mother and father leaving the gravesite. It wasn't until they put her on the ground and they touched me. Oh, okay. And I apologized to my parents. I said, but Mom, she was my mother. Not like she was. She was my mother. Right. She mothered me. Right. I'm like, oh, shucks. And it didn't hit me until all that. And tears just flowed out my eyes because of all that I missed. Okay. And then it was in that time that I realized, Drees, people go to funerals, they don't be crying over the person that passed. They be crying over their own guilt and all the stuff that they've been done themselves. Right. You know? So when you see people breaking out, freaking out, it's got something to do with their own self. Yeah. You know? Definitely. But, yeah, and then I wish that I would have went to her to hear her words. Oh, when they were saying she was going past? Because she kept saying she had something to tell me. I wish I would have went, and I didn't go. But there was selfishness again, you know, saying, I got to keep her holding on. That was crazy. Right. Listening to them Christians. Yeah. Them people, you know. If truth would just came to me once, you know, it ain't going to be a minute, a second that she could stay when Allah pull her. Yeah. She can't stay no longer. Yeah. She holding on. She holding on to life just for you. Yeah. I'm like, what? You see how you get people, so messed up?
People, yeah, you know, because in a situation like you said, and the timely death. See, people say untimely, but Aisha is so merciful now.
Everything's on time.
Everything's on time with Aisha. See, people say they should have held on a little longer, you know. I was amazed how Aisha did it because he was in a coma for 2 weeks prior to us getting down there. Then we got down there, and they, you know, my grandmother had in her mind, you know, the decision to unplug everything because his kidneys had already failed, so he had renal failure. That, you know, she was all right, but she said, Pop told me, because down south people tell me like that. My Pop told me, you know, he told his pastor he already made like his amends, you know, and told him, if I pass on, I'm all right, you know. If I don't get out of this hospital, I'm all right, you know. And she said he said that to her 3 times, and I know why he's always teaches that here, you know, would always say do things in threes.
Yeah.
He told him 3 times this. He didn't have no pen or pad like a legal, but he told the pastor, I'm gonna be okay. So by the time we arrived down south, you know, we went to the hospital that same evening, and when I seen him, he looked at such a peace. I'm looking at him like he's almost like he's asleep.
Yeah, like
he wasn't struggling. His kidneys had shut down, and the nurse Davis was keeping clean and everything. And so the decision had to come to, you know, this is not living. Plug to the machine ain't really keeping you alive, because he's already beyond the point.
Right.
So they couldn't make. My grandma said, I don't want to make the decision. So my mother would say, well, wait till my older sister get done, because she traveled every summer down to see my grandfather. So she spent more time than me and my brother did. Yeah. But, you know, I know the good time that when I went down south every summer, like you told me, every summer we was down south for the summer, down to the grandfather's house. So all those memories came back to me, they played in my mind. And so when the Saturday came, they had to plug them. I said, yeah, because these things that keep them alive. So they made the decision, they unplugged them. After that, he breathed on his own. The machines wasn't, like I said, really keeping him alive, but he breathed on his own. So from the Saturday up to a Monday now, they said we had to put him in a hospice, which is like a home, almost like a home type environment, like your last final days, make you comfortable as possible. You know. So upon that, they transferred him that early Monday morning, and so that evening, because we're gonna make our way back up here for a minute, but take care of some business. We said we would go by see the hospital and see him all the time. And we saw him there. He still looked the same like I saw him in the hospital. He still looked, it's just peaceful. So I kissed him, said, I love you, Grandpa, you know, thank you for all that you've done in my life. Because at that time, being reconnected with your family in the South, so to speak, so many things came to mind, expressions that, you know, about your family that you never knew about, you know, history that you couldn't relate to until you got really appreciate when you got older. As a young kid, you can't relate to them stories until you get older, that you can say, wow. This happened, but they told me they times in the South and everything. So my grandmother, she held on, you know, she kept the faith, so to speak, as they say, you know, she maintained herself. But I can see in her eyes, you know, the inevitability. He's gonna pass. You know, so that day she said she went that morning, she couldn't go back that afternoon. She said, I'm tired, you know, from going every a month or so. He had been in the hospital already. So
I hope you don't mind him bringing you into the family.
Yeah, you know.
That's what this is like. It's like a family today type of situation.
So, in doing that, you know, I just watched how the Lord strengthened her. And keeping her strong, you know. And then the conversation that I had with her, me and her, my mother, we talked different things. To them, they were like, how come you keep us such a balance, you know, not only emotional, and maintain, trying to keep them on a same, you know, on the field that, you know, don't take them down. So they go into the emotions and get it.
You was on your job.
You know. And I think the Lord must all that they've given us, you know, sitting here for my ears through this message, this information, this teaching, this education that's been received to help you become a whole person, you know, to realize that there's this more level of you just in the emotional and mental, the spiritual and the astral and so forth, and the 7 bodies of being that man that either have manifested through us or give it to us to understand of how to deal on this plane. So people, you know, other family would call on the phone, and their first question always is, are you all right? Are you okay? What are you feeling?
They want to know if you're emotional.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
like,
the Christian.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I would, you know, I've caught myself a few times saying, what are you looking for me to say? How you want me to be? You know, because I know this is just a stage. See, people make the grave as the only, no, it's like not the end. No, there's life after this. Because you ain't know about, you're not aware of it. Don't think other people haven't been brought to the awareness or brought to the understanding of there's another, it's like going through the doorway. That you come to appreciate going before the Lord of the throne.
That's why I said that when people cry, it's all about selfishness. You know, why else would you cry? If you considering that person, okay, if you crying, that means you think that person going somewhere bad. Oh, you know, Pop going to hell. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Because if you believe in the life hereafter, and you believe in Allah being an infinite being, and that it created us from its infinite mind, it made us minds as men, then why would you break up so much when you should realize that you're coming behind this individual? Sooner or later. You know, it has to be a selfish thing. And he was 90 years old, right?
87.
87, yeah.
But what I either blessed me to realize being in the South again, you know, that you never know how you affect people's lives.
Right.
And so many family members, then some family, like extended family, you know, not by blood, like you were saying about your guardian mother.
Yeah.
The same thing that my grandfather helped raise. People I met down there when I was down there said he was like a father to me. So I'm like, wow, you know.
He was a good man.
And then he was like, everybody was a deacon in the church, you know, and so that traditional, like you said, religion has always been in the family. And people was coming out of the woodworks, you know. So when we left that particular day, and my sister happened to text me on the phone, she said, man, there's so many people in it.
Yeah.
For grandpa. You know, but then I said, here in Stroh, I was there, that how many lives he touched.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I said, wow, you know, brought me in mind of my father, then that realized that you never know how the effect.
There you go.
The ripple effect.
There you go. And with your father, he's the only person that I knew, only Muslim that I knew.
Right.
That how can I say, went beyond the limitations of those lines that was set up in the different sects of Islam. That's why when we put them away, you know, we had all the masjids send their representatives to get involved with his janazah, his burial and everything. And then they started trouble there, right? Had to straighten them out.
Want to take charge.
Everybody want to take charge, you know.
And nobody, you know.
But he was so universal.
Right, and that was
And that was the beautiful thing about him. He was a universally minded individual. He did not make judgments. He followed Allah's word when Allah said, do not be the judge, for it is the judge. Right. You know, and he visited all the different masters. He didn't care if they represented Turkey, Iraq, Iran, Sudan, Mecca, Arabia, Saudi Arabia. He didn't care if they were Shiite, Hanbalis, or whatever. He went, if it was a masjid, he went.
Yeah, right.
And that was the beautiful thing about him, you know. He sought A.H.A.D, and that's why his passing was so beautiful, and his sending off was so beautiful. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. And wow, man.
You know, it's a realization that, you know, many people, they always had it in reverse. You know, and I say that. They usually say when a baby's born, you cry, you know, when you...
We know why.
Right. You know, but the rejoicing to me now that my grandfather's not the bondage or the trapped into this world anymore, this life of trials now. Now he's on to the next phase.
Well, look at the beauty that Allah showed you in the sign.
Yeah.
Look how many people he touched.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. That was
look how his purpose for being here. It was a good purpose. So we can surmise that Allah is pleased with him. That Christ is pleased with him.
You know,
you know what I mean? And that's all good, man.
You know. And the beauty of speaking with them, you know, beautiful side, you know, I thought about you. You told you went outside how sometimes you have the culture,
the language barrier,
but because of the mention of A.H.A.D in the language that keep us universal. I used to come and relate to my grandmother in the way that we've been taught, and she understood the conversation without mixing, you know, and she didn't talk back to me in a Christian way, but you know about more of life in general, and I should appreciate those
grandmother is old and wise. She got some wisdom. I was down there dealing with a young buck.
Oh yeah,
I think this guy is younger than myself. He said he played ball with Jerry Rice. So he got to be younger than me.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Want to intimidate, and me, I'm trying to fit in. Yeah. We got caught in that language barrier.
But one language that people don't realize though, regardless of where I used to bring the message for, they recognize the truth. That's what she was dealing in, it's the truth of the situation. That's all she kept talking about.
Lies,
you know. I didn't say, oh wow, he's just the Lord Most High. And in that, and in the content and the information that I was presenting to her, it was more like, you know, I can relate to that. You know,
and the thing about it, Idris, is that was good for her. Right. You know why it was good for her? How many grandchildren do she have, or how many children do she have that you know of that has arrived in the knowledge of realization?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So you don't know what A.H.A.D did for her.
Right.
Now she might sit back and think about the things you've passed on because it's very important.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it may make her passing along easier and ready to get out of here easier. Because I remember my father was laying up in the hospital, and Allah said to me, "Son, I'm going to take him in 3 days." You know, so a few days. You know, and I said, "Okay, a few to me is 3 days."
Okay.
And I went and I told my family. Nobody wanted to believe it because he appeared like he was getting better. Oh, he looked so good. He's shining. He this and that. I said, "Well, Allah's preparing him for the passing." I said, he's coming back to being like a baby all the way. They said, no, he looks so good and this, that, and this. I said, well, Allah said that it's taking him in a few days, and that's 3 days. And Dad, I said, all his family coming up for this family reunion, they coming up for a funeral and they don't know it.
Right.
Because we had a lot of family members coming up for a family reunion.
Right.
But Allah set that up.
Oh, yeah.
Allah set that up. And because I got to know my brother and some other people that I hadn't known, you know, because he had his first son wasn't by my mother.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so anyway, there was a lot of things, but the thing about it was that the peace that he was in, and what was important to me was to know whether I had fit his standards or not.
Oh, okay.
And my talking to him was like, did I become the man that you wanted me to become? And our conversation was so deep because I acknowledged, I said, Dad, you know, you ain't got no time. This ain't no time. I said, you know I've never been a liar.
Right.
I don't imagine and make up stories. It's time for us to talk straight up right now. Because you don't have much time left. And he said, yeah, I know. And I laid it all out about myself and everything from what I had told him 14 years earlier.
Right.
He said he understood, he believed.
Oh,
right?
Right.
And we had a beautiful conversation, and then he told my wife some things to tell me the next day, you know, in terms of he accept this way and everything.
Right.
So when he passed on and had that big smile on his face,
right.
And he was looking out the window, and Allah told me what went down with Gabriel and the angel of death.
Okay.
Because he was looking at them, and he was smiling. The angels coming, and, you know, he was passing over. He could see into the spirit realm. And he was happy because he could acknowledge, wow, man, I done brought the messenger of Allah into this world and raised him. His whole thing was of joy, and he passed out that way. You know, but the thing about it is, it was important that he knew so his passing would be easier. His whole thing was he didn't want to deal with the rest of his sons or anything like that. That he was dealing with what he considered his success. His success of raising a good son. Even though he had proclaimed Christianity all his life up until that time. You know, because A.H.A.D caused me to cause him to understand where I was coming from. Dad, I'm speaking just what you've been speaking. Christianity, the same thing. Look at this. And, you know, for 14 years, I kind of laid it out to him. And he understood, wow, you know, how he get it through Islam.
Right.
He was like bugged out. How this one, the Muslim get it, and my Christians, because they still in church, they still ain't got it. Yeah. You know, so it was a good thing for him. Right. You know, now what you did with your grandmother may be a good thing for her. Because it's important that that the older ones see that their life hasn't been futile.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when your time comes to pass, don't you want at least one of your children to make it, for the light of Christ to come down on them? Yeah. At least one.
Yeah.
Huh? And for you Muslims, the light of Nur.
Yeah.
The Nur Allah. See, people get lost in semantics.
Yeah.
You know, the language, you know. But it's all the same.
Of you want to do things right. To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you